Chalo. So these are the references. So I have covered definition of thermodynamics, next engineering thermodynamics, and what are the branches of thermodynamics, main branches, classical, statistical in equilibrium, next chemical, non-equilibrium. So these are the topics which we'll cover in lesson 1. Almost half of the topics I have covered. So remaining one are concept of continuum, thermodynamic equilibrium, what is property, state, process. We'll discuss in this class. Okay. And these are some of the differences between classical thermodynamics and statistical thermodynamics. Now, what is thermodynamic system? We know on which we are concentrating to study, that is called as a thermodynamic system. Okay. Next, surroundings means everything external to the system is surroundings or environment. Next, boundary. These are some characteristics of boundary. Bond is having zero thickness, and boundary should be shared by both surroundings and system. Okay. Next, what is universe? System plus surroundings is universe. Types of thermodynamic systems. There are three thermodynamic systems. One is closed, open system. Next, isolated system. Okay. So this is thermodynamic system, simple thermodynamic system. This is a closed system, and this one is open system, and this one is isolated system. Okay. And differences are in closed system only energy transfer across the boundary is there. In open system both energy transfer and mass transfer across the boundary system will we can see. Okay. That is the main difference. And this is the closed system which is having fixed boundary, and this is the closed system having movable boundary. And this one is open system having real boundary and imaginary boundary. So comprises totally imaginary and real boundary comprises of control volume, and the surface of control volume is control surface. This is the point you just remember. Surface of control volume is control surface. Okay. Control surface. Okay. And this one is also open system. Energy is coming in and work is done in this way. Next. Isolated system is there is no mass transfer, there is no energy transfer across the boundary of the system. Okay. Examples are, what are the examples we have discussed earlier? Have you remembered those examples? Hmm. Thermos flask. Another example. What is another example? Totally two examples I have given. One is a thermos flask, that is your kettle. Another one. Anyone? Universe. Universe is the example of isolated system. Okay. So these are the two examples I have given. Next we will discuss concept of continuum, which is the basic for thermodynamics. So why we need to have concept of continuum? What is continuum? What are the terms used in continuum? We will discuss in this class. So before going to discuss concept of continuum, you need to know what is mean free path. Next, what is Knudsen number? Knudsen number. Okay, these are the main 2 points you need to know before going to concept of continuum. So what is mean free path? So just read it once. The mean free path of a particle such as a molecule is the average distance the particle travels between collisions with the other moving particles. Okay. So let us draw. So assume that this is a system. In this 1, 2, 3, Four molecules are there. Now guess. So this is one, two, three, four. Assume that one molecule collide collides with the two molecule. So and the distance between the collision is before collision is, let us say, assume x1. Suppose the same molecule collides with the third molecule. What happens? Before collision, assume that x2. Okay. So and same molecule 1 collides with molecule 3, and the distance between these two is x3. So like that, 1, 2, 3 up to n number of molecules are there. So you do one thing, add x1, x2 up to xn by n. You will get average value. So what are x1 and x2? Average distance between molecule 1 and 2. What is 2? Average distance between molecule 1 and 3. Like that, so on. So if you average these all the distance, you will get mean free path. What is that? Mean free path you will get. Understood now this point? Everyone? Any doubt? What is mean free path? Any doubt is there? No, no? Okay. So next we'll go. So what is Knudsen number? So Knudsen number is the ratio of lambda by L. What is lambda? Lambda means mean free path. L means representative physical scale. So in order to study concept of continuum, you must have Knudsen number less than 0.01. So we'll see what is lambda, what is L, how we will calculate this Knudsen number. Okay. So I am taking one system, and the representative physical scale means the dimension of the system. I am taking L. So this is the dimension of system, and there is a particle. So number of particles are there for this system. So mean free path is lambda. So now question is, if lambda is less than L, what happens? And lambda is greater than L, what happens? These are the two questions you must analyze. So what happens when lambda is less than 1? When lambda is less than L, what happens? So molecules will be very nearer to each other. Yes or no? Is it correct? When lambda is less than 1, what happens? Molecules are very nearer to each other. If lambda is greater than L, what happens? Lambda is greater than L. So that means lambda is greater than L means, so molecules are this much distance. That means the distance between molecules is approximately equal to L or greater than. So that means the distance between these two molecules is very nearer to L or greater than L. You can see here. Understood na diagram? So here comes to the question is why we need to study Knudsen number. Suppose if the molecules are nearer, this is our interest. So that means that molecules are continuous, having less voids. Voids means the distance, the space between molecules is very less. If Knudsen number is greater than 0.01, what happens? The molecules are very far, like this. Okay. So just remember this. If Knudsen number is less than less than 0.01, you have to say this is a continuum flow. Got this now? Any doubt in this? So these are the points. Just read it. As microscopic approach is time consuming and in most of the applications it is not required to go to the details of individual molecule and then taking it average. So there are some points. Micro macro macroscopic approach, microscopic approach. You know, so in macro we'll average all the values, but in micro we'll study each and every characteristics of the molecules, right? Both will give same results. Even though both will give us same results, we are considering only macro. Why? We are considering only macroscopic approach to study thermodynamic problem. Any idea why we are taking only macro, even though macro both are giving same results? I have already discussed this point because microscopic approach is very difficult. That's why we are only considering macro. See here, the analysis is possible when the size of the system is much larger than the mean free path of the molecule. What it indicates? When the size of the system should be greater than mean free path. That means you just take L left side, you will get 1. That means even 0.01 less than. Much greater than means L should be greater than lambda. So this is the condition. That means we are using Knudsen number here. So Knudsen number is very useful in the analysis of a problem. Okay. Next, in such situations, what happens to the individual molecules is of no concern, and the only interest to know the interaction between system surroundings. Such an approach is called macroscopy. See, so thermodynamics, macro in turn continuum. So that's how the problem of analysis will go. First, thermodynamics. From that we have taken macro analysis. From that we have in turn taken continuum. Okay, just remember this: thermodynamics, macro, and continuum. Okay, we may follow any approach, but the results should be same, as the results do not depend upon the method of analysis used. So we know results will give the same for the both macro and micro, even though we are using only macro approach. Okay, so this is about continuum a little bit. So we'll go deep. Reason behind considering continuum concept. So why we are studying continuum concept? See, these are some important lines. Just read it once. Know what happens before and after a certain amount of volume. So what is this before and after? Before and after. See, so if you are taking this amount of volume, this amount of volume, what happens to the properties of the system? Otherwise, if you are taking this much amount of volume, what happens to the properties of the system? Properties means nothing but uh, pressure, volume, temperature, density, etc. Okay, is density constant or varying? So generally we are taking density as constant. We are not taking density in a different values. We are taking it a constant, but density in actually it varies because continuum concept here. Continuum concept applies here. So if you are taking at this point, density changes. If you are taking entire molecule, density changes. If you are taking in between the spaces, density changes. So there are some cases where the density changes. So we'll discuss in the next slide. Next, if it is varying, go for statistical thermodynamics. So thermodynamics, next macro, next continuum, correct now? Next, properties should not change. Properties will not change. So that's how we'll discuss. Next, every property is calculated in macroscopic approach because properties are having constant values. So remember, in thermodynamics, we will discuss only macroscopic approach. In turn, properties which are having constant value are useful. Those properties which are changing will not use them at all. Okay. Up to here clear now? Any doubts? Any doubts? If you have any doubt, just raise your hand. Shiva, Sai Kumar, Praveen, Srinath, Mahesh, all are there. Uh, are you following? Okay. Are you following now? Okay. Okay. Next. So this is the model. So this is a graph showing how the concept of continuum. Okay. Okay. Just mute yourself. Disturbance is there. Okay. So this is the graph showing density changing. So this is the density. What is delta m by delta v? This is the density and this is the volume. So while decreasing the volume, density is decreasing and density is also increasing. There are two cases. You need to study both why the density is decreasing, why the density is increasing, and also why the density is constant. So these are the uh, three areas we need to study. Okay. So after this line, this is the classical thermodynamics. Before this line, this is statistical thermodynamics. Okay. So my question is, after this line, what is this classical or statistical? Right side of this dashed line, what is this? Right side to the dashed line. Is it classical or statistical? This area. This area is classical and this area is statistic. Okay. Now we'll see. I have taken a elemental elemental mass which is having elemental volume delta V. So in this, suppose, so I am taking a elemental mass delta M which is having delta V. Okay. So in this I am taking four molecules, 1, 2, 3, 4. Suppose if you want to calculate density at this area, you can see, I guess, at this yellow point. At this yellow point, is there any mass? At this yellow point, is there any mass? Says or no? Anyone? No. So, what is density? Density is equal to delta M by delta V. Okay. As delta M is 0, we'll get density as 0. In the first case, suppose I am taking this entire particle, third particle. Okay, so entire third particle is having mass. Yes or no? So delta is not equal to 0. Correct now? Now I am taking just half of the molecule, second molecule. So then delta rho 2 delta m by delta v. This is also not equal to 0. Both rho 1, both rho 1 and rho 2, both are not equal to 0. But observe that which is greater. Delta 2 is greater or delta 1 is greater. You can say easily. Because I'm keeping delta v is constant in both the cases. Only delta m is changing. So which one is greater? Delta 1 is greater or delta 2 is greater? Which is greater? Which is greater? So yes, delta 1 is greater. So you can say delta 1 is greater than delta 2. Correct now? So that means there is a chance of decrease in delta 2, increase in density. That means density can be decreased, density can be increased. So both the cases are there. Okay? So this is the point I want to share with you. Okay? Okay. Okay, mute yourself, students. Please mute yourself. Hmm? Group law. Okay. Okay. So this is the graph you can see here. So density has decreased in one case. Density has increased in one case. So these are the 2 points I want to discuss with you. So you by this time you have a clear idea why this the density is decreasing and increasing. So and also why the density is constant. This also you have to know. Okay. So why the density is constant? See, I am taking a same volume. So these are the so if the volume is increased, what happens? Number of molecules also in a definite volume also increased. Correct now? That means if you want to calculate density at any point also, at any point, this point, this point, this point, anywhere you can see the density is is equal almost in each and every situation. One, two, three. In all the situations, the density is constant. That means you will get a straight line here. Okay. So this is the concept of continuum. But in this concept of continuum, we'll see only after this dashed line. This is our interest, not before. If you are getting any results in this case, you just leave this, or else you can go for statistical analysis. But we'll go for only classical. Okay. Understood now this point? Everyone. This is important one. Next, thermodynamic equilibrium. So what is equilibrium? What is equilibrium? Okay, at constant temperature. This is one case. Uh, so many examples are there. You can give more. One is a constant temperature. Next, another constant position. Correct na? Constant position also there. Constant temperature is also there. Constant velocity without changing its velocity. That is also equilibrium. Okay. Constant volume. Volume, if you are fixing volume at one value, it cannot be changed further. So suppose assume that your room is having some value. Will it be changed? No, no, correct. So those are the some properties are there. We can change it, so they can be changed. We should concentrate only on those properties. Uh, some can be kept constant. Temperature can be kept constant. Chemical composition kept constant. Suppose if these parameters have changed, these properties have changed, then there can be no equilibrium. So based on these three, we'll study equilibrium. What is thermodynamic equilibrium? Just see. So what is thermodynamic equilibrium? A system is said to be exist in a state of thermodynamic equilibrium when no change in any macroscopic property is registered. No change in macroscopic property. What are the macroscopic properties? Examples are uh, pressure, volume, temperature, energy. Okay, so these are the macroscopic properties. If these properties are not changing, then you can say the system is in thermodynamic equilibrium. So see, no change in any macroscopic property. If suppose the system is having four properties, then all four properties should not change. Not a single one. Uh, the one, two, three, four properties should not change. Then only we can say the system is in thermodynamic equilibrium. Okay. Examples are, see, an isolated system always reaches in course of time a state of thermodynamic equilibrium and can never depart from it spontaneously. What is this isolated system? Why the isolated system is related to thermodynamic equilibrium? Why not open or closed system? Any idea? Why we are relating only isolated system rather than open or closed? Suppose. So, right, correct. Suppose, suppose if the system which we have taken is not an isolated system, then can we apply thermodynamic analysis or not? Or should we wait for some time? Right. If the system is not equilibrium, we cannot apply. Suppose this is an isolated system at t is equal to 10 seconds. But before 10 seconds, what happened is there is a energy transfer. There was a energy transfer happened before 10 seconds. But after 10 seconds, no energy transfer. The system has reached its equilibrium state and this is an isolated system. Then you can say this system is in thermodynamic equilibrium. Okay. Next, there are three kinds of equilibrium: mechanical, chemical, thermal. So, what is mechanical? Suppose I have taken piston cylinder arrangement. So, there is a atmospheric pressure is there, PATM. Okay, P PATM means atmospheric pressure. Inside gas molecules are there. Here you can see. So, gas molecules pressure is, let us say, P1. So there are three cases. Let us say P atmosphere is greater than or less than or equal to. You have to tell me in which case unbalanced forces will be there. Less than or greater than or equal. In which case? Suppose take first case. If the atmospheric pressure is greater than P1, what happens? If this pressure is greater than this pressure, what happens? Will this piston will move down or upwards? Down? Correct. This piston will move down. Correct. Suppose if atmospheric pressure is less than P1, in that case what happens? Piston will the piston move upward or downwards? Upwards. Correct. Suppose these two are equal. These two are equal. Then No motion. That means the piston. Correct, correct. So that means the piston is in equilibrium. So what is the unbalanced force here? What is the unbalanced force? Pressure. Correct now? So this pressure is unbalanced force. So you can see here mechanical equilibrium. So just read it. Read this. In the absence of any unbalanced force within the system itself and also between the system and surrounding, the system is said to be in mechanical equilibrium. And the question is, if not, what happens? If not, what happens? So this is the case. Suppose the system is not in equilibrium. What happens next? What happens? The pressure is in the cylinder is not equal to the atmospheric pressure. What happens? There is an unbalanced force. So it will reach equilibrium position soon after. Correct? If not in equilibrium, it will reach in equilibrium position soon after the soon after. So this is a mechanical equilibrium. If the system is not in a mechanical equilibrium, it will reach its mechanical equilibrium. Okay. Next, what is chemical? Chemical equilibrium. Suppose this is a room. So there is a spray. So you are spraying DO. Okay, on your body. So this is a spray. So your friend is there. So what happens? At t is equal 0, there is no change. But what happens after t is equal 10 seconds? After spraying, what happens? What your friend feel will spread to him. He can smell it after 10 seconds. Suppose after 30 seconds, what happens? Let us say the system is in equilibrium. The system is in equilibrium. You have to move all around your room. At this point, what is the intensity of smell? At this point, what is the intensity of smell? So you have to check all the points. What you will observe? At all these points, what you will observe? You will feel the same intensity of smell. Correct now? That means the system has reached equilibrium. See, chemical equilibrium is if there is no chemical reaction or transfer of matter. In this example, we have seen only transfer of matter. What is the transfer of matter? From one part of the system to the another, such as diffusion. So the process has taken by diffusion. Yeah, through air, through diffusion process. Next, thermal equilibrium. So you can take any example thermal equilibrium. Suppose so you are boiling water in a kettle. So this is a handle. So there is an insulation here. So that you can okay, this is the so now if you want to check the temperature of the water, how you will check? By touching the surface of the beaker, this surface, right? So if per suppose you have touched this handle, what happens? Is the same temp is it the same temperature or different temperature? Is it same? I mean to say this is a metal rod here. Here this surface is metal. Okay, this is also metal surface. So if this is hot, what happens to this? Is it at the same temperature? I mean to say, is it hot? Is it hot or not? Why what happened there? How this hand transferring of heat from this metal kettle surface to the metal rod? So this was happened, right? So that means there is a wall. This kettle surface act like a wall, diathermic wall. That means it will allow heat to flow. It will allow heat to flow. Heat flow is there through a diathermic wall. So now you can understand what is diathermic wall. So here. diathermic wall, and if there is no spontaneous change in any property of the system is said to be exist in a state of thermodynamic equilibrium. So in order to have a thermal equilibrium, the system should be in mechanical and chemical equilibrium. Okay, any doubt? What is thermal, what is chemical, what is mechanical equilibrium? So do one thing, after this join again using the same link, because time is up. Okay, we should continue. Okay.